I will submit this as a bottom line. The people who got us in the current situation are not going to be the ones who get us out.
I think we all know that one of the big reasons we're in the situation we're in today is we let the budget get out of whack. We had 2 wars that were incredibly expensive. Now we really need to make sure that we put together a balanced approach to address the fiscal issues that we're facing. That means, one, getting people at the table and talking to each other. We need someone who is going to focus on talking to everybody who's willing to come to the table, not say my way or the highway and walk out the door. So to get there, it can't just be a dialogue that says the only way we're going to get there is give tax breaks to the wealthy. The way we're going to get there is by doing a balanced approach, by looking at what we can do for revenue. I believe we should let Bush tax cuts expire for higher wage earners. I think that it's about tax fairness, but it's also about making sure we get policy in place that gets our budget back on track. And I think we have to be smart about our spending. There are places where we do need to spend and invest to keep things going, like infrastructure is a great one, where it's actually smarter for us to invest now than let things fall apart and spend more money later. In fact, having a long-term horizon and looking at the investments we make and the return we'll get over the long term is another incredibly important thing that we need to bring to the budget conversation. But right now, it's about, the conversation is about do it my way or I won't talk to you. And that's the thing that's in the way right now in Congress. So let's bring people to the table who've balanced budgets before, who understand what it takes to help make sure businesses have the foundations that they need to grow, and who understand that we're going to have to pay the bills and put that all together. Because I do think we can have a responsible policy if we realize that there are places we need to invest, and then we also have huge payments that we make today, like investments in oil companies through tax subsidies that we give, that are no longer giving us, the taxpayers, the return on investment that we expect or deserve, and we can change that and get ourselves on a better path going forward.
John? Man, it's been interesting to listen to the comments up here. But I gotta tell you, if we're gonna solve this problem, we're gonna have to do this together, both sides of the aisle. We're gonna have to stop the blame game, how we got here. Look, I think there's plenty of responsibility for everybody to claim here on both sides of the aisle. We've got to stop the class warfare. Frankly, we've got to stop dividing people in class, dividing people in race, dividing people in gender, dividing people by religion, every which way we possibly can. We're Americans. When's the last time we came together? Why do we need a crisis as Americans to finally come together? The last time we came together was on the heels of 9/11. God help us that we have to have another crisis to actually come together to solve the problems as Americans. But we have one before us, and it's called this fiscal cliff. We've got to figure this out. Yes, we need a balanced approach. You're absolutely right. We've heard that. We need to reduce spending. By golly, we need to have the courage to sit down together, both parties, and talk about what's driving that spending. And frankly, 43% of what's driving that spending is the so-called entitlement programs. And I don't use that word entitlement in a demagogue-type fashion. They are programs that are driving the budget. Look at the debt clock. You don't have to believe me. Go to the bottom. Unfunded liabilities, $120 trillion. $83 trillion of it is Medicare. We have to figure out how to solve these problems if these programs are going to be sustainable in the future. And that's going to take a little political courage, both to put them on the table and have an honest conversation, and for both sides of the aisle to realize, you know what, you don't get everything in this business. I'll fight for my principles, but in the end, we got to move the ball forward in America. We have to solve these problems. We can't sit here and divide ourselves anymore. Let's try and figure it out together, okay? It works much better that way.
Thank you. Another local issue of interest in both of the congressional districts is the proposed development of the Cherry Point Gateway Pacific Bulk Commodity Terminal, or otherwise known as the toll terminal. I'm going to start with Dan and ask for your outlook on that issue.